Well, hello folks, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the Fat Guy Flies RC studio. Alright, Hobby King sent me out the YAK-11 STEADFAST out for review. Let's unbox it and start putting this bad boy together. Of course, now I gotta find my knife, which was right here. Now it's over here. I think I have gremlins that come in here and move my tools on me. Alright. Or I just don't set them down and don't pay attention where I set them down at. I'm going to go with a ladder. Alright, now this is supposed to be a very fast Soviet trainer. Okay. Well, all the specs and everything will be in the description of the video. Of course, I got to open it up. Not exactly what you call a small box. Alright, we get to watch the grown man fight with cardboard. Alright. And as usual, with all these large, well-reputable companies, everything is packed like you can drop it off the back of a truck. Alright, start off with this little right here. Got your wing joiners, your Y harnesses, or actually it's quick wing connectors, and some bits and bobs, tail gear, bits and bobs and bits. It's important to have your bobs and your bits, you know. Okay, got the quick setup guide connected to tape, so that's not good, and it's kind of in there. Gives you your CG, your suggested throws, things of that nature. Big old honking spinner. Look at that thing. There I go with that term, big honkin'. Anybody want to tell me what big honkin' is? Okay. First up is the giant wing. Very nice. Ball links already hooked up. Okay, which is nice. And the nice thing about these ball links, they're like secured on there. They're not gonna, they shouldn't come off of there. Nice mechanical hinge on the, oh, and you do have a pinch hinge, but it has actual reinforcement. Looks like nylon reinforcement. Yeah, you've got embedded, looks like maybe embedded CA hinges along with a pinch hinge. So that's nice. How thick that wing is. Okay. Always keep up with all your debris. Nothing in that cavern. Alright, you see, make sure there's nothing in that. Right there. Okay. Got, I want to assume is the prop. Very well protected prop. Yeah. Man, you can beat somebody with that. Let's see, that is a 16x6 electric prop. Very nice, very nice, very nice. Let's get the other wing out here. Nice LED. This is where you, oh, that's got a magnet there, so that pitot tube must magnetic on there. Looks like we got some, I don't know if that's heat or whatever, made some shiny places on the front wing there. Nice decal. That wheel's got some give to a sponge wheel. Foam wheel, anyways. Like everything has a little pocket, so you're not going to worry about anything getting damaged. And this is probably the most important thing, to have mechanical hinges. And you've got, this is a pinch hinge with embedded mechanical hinges, I guess CA hinges. I'm not really sure. Inside there. Yeah, there's something more than a pinch hinge here. Must be CA hinges. Already got their control arm already hooked up for you. Very nice. Very, very nice. Now this is something I saw in their slowpoke up here, is a wooden wing spar. Several pieces of hardwood glued or laminated together to give you a very stout wing spar. Very nice rudder, vertical stabilizer. Again, the same kind of embedded CA hinges along with a pinch hinge. So, very nice. Decals already applied. Huh, it's off. If you look at the bottom, it's off. It's not perfectly centered on there. But I'm sure there's a reason for that. Okay. And last but not least, this is why you always look at all the little bits and bobs and nooks and crannies, all your hardware. That is one big model. Man, look at this motor. Sucker's huge. It's a big ol' Hobby King 5020 550 kV. Big ol' honking ball to turn that great big prop. I can see that. All right, let me make sure before we open the fuse that we got everything out of the foam coffin. Everything is out of the foam coffin. Not anything left in there. Okay. All right. You go over there. Okay. Now let's set this guy down. Nice latch there. I like the fact that you can see up in there, because that means the air is going to be able to get up in there. It's not going to cause the engager. This is all plastic. I like that. Huge! I think I can crawl up in this thing. Look how big that battery bay is. Absolutely humongous. Humongous, humongous, humongous. And that is all, that's all wood. XT90. Which is fine. You got your elevator and rudder leads there. Simple plane. Simple plane. All right. Nice heavy duty latch. How does this go? Oh, okay. This, it tongue and grooves in. Slide that in there like that. Pull back the latch. And there you go. So that ain't going to come off. That's built for speed. And if you notice, it's got these vents on the side. That's functional. That helps keep your electronics cool. That's going to suck air in there, and then it's going to shoot it out down here. And that will help keep your electronics and your batteries nice and cool. That's a nice design. That's a nice design. All right. Okay. All right, let's get some materials together, and we'll start building this thing. Be right back. All righty, basically got our materials together, and directions say that you need to start by joining your wings together. All right, so it says glue the wings together, so we're going to do that. Everything goes inside these things. Alright. You're going to take your large wooden spar, and remember it's got a little bit of dihedral to it. So you're going to slide, just go ahead and do a test fit first. Okay. Now I don't, you know, with the way this wing joins together, I don't know if necessary that you do glue it in there. But instructions say to glue it together. Yeah, it would make it a little bit stiffer. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. But I always recommend you test fit everything first. And I like using good old Chinese white tube glue. Comes with a lot. It didn't come with this kit, but it comes with a lot of these kits. Put a little bit on the here and on the end there. Okay. 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 And they're like that. And put some more on the tip. Okay. Now this foam's already pretty well roughed up here. So join these two wings together. There's obvious slots where it goes. And pull those once they get nice and stringy in between there. Put them back together. Okay. Turn it over. Let it sit nice and flush. Let's go ahead and take our wing joiner pieces, which they have. They're obvious how they go. They have markings on them, and this will help straighten the wing out. Keep it flush. Has little tabs to show you which way what goes in where. Okay. All right. There. And that helps stiffen everything up. Gives you correct stiffness. All right. That looks good. All right. Now, set that aside. Actually, what I'm going to do is we're going to set this over here. Let this glue only takes about 10-15 minutes to get nice and strong. So I'm going to set it on my chair over here, allowing both sides of the wings to kind of droop off, and that'll help lock in that position. In the meantime, I want to go ahead and turn my attention to something that's kind of tedious. Okay, you're going to need a 2mm hex drive. We're going to go ahead and hook up the prop adapter. Now, for the prop adapter, I suggest you use a little bit of not CA, I'm sorry, a little bit of Loctite, and don't get it on the foam. Just unassemble your stuff here. Let's get you a little bit closer. Okay. I want you to look in front of that motor there. All right. See them holes there? See them holes there? What I always say, FBI calls that a clue. All right, in your kit, you're going to see 4 of these machine screws that take a 2mm hex drive. This is the part where you want to have a magnetic tray. Okay. All right. This is what they look like. Machine screws. Okay. Take your 2mm hex drive, and see it's going to go in that there. Okay. Take that off of there. Go ahead and set your, what I like to do is go ahead and set all 4 of these screws. It looks like you may get one extra. Well, that's not it. Uh-oh. Am I in the wrong? Okay, there's one there. That's one there. Nope, that's a Phillips head. Alright, be careful. There's all kinds of screws in this little baggie. You want the ones that take a 2mm hex drive. Okay, you should have 4 of them. And there's only 4. There's 4. So you do not get an extra. Okay, that I can see. No, you don't. Okay, so you're going to take these 4. Okay, let's go ahead, drop them in to the prop adapter. They only fit one way. They're only going to go in one way. Okay, let's go ahead and drop them in. A little easier said than done. As you can see, we're not what you call spit and polish here on Fat Guy Flies RC. So you get the gist of what I'm doing here. I'm going to drop them in. Okay. Now see how they're hanging out there at the bottom there? Alright. I'm going to turn them sideways. That way, I'm going to put my fingers where they don't fall back out, and I'm going to put a little drop of Loctite on each one of them. Okay. Then I'll get them lined up. Go ahead and get this ready to go. Okay. Whoa. Uh-oh. Had one come out. Get one ready to go. Okay. Okay. Get the one that fell out. Okay. Alright, something I like to do. Okay, see how that just tightens up? Look at that seam right there. You're going to watch that seam disappear. Okay. Alright, now, to make your world easier and quit trying to hurt your fingers and stuff, alright, I'm going to grab a large wrench. Okay. Open that wrench up as far as I can get it, and then just hold that in place while I crank down on each one of those. Always do it in a crisscross pattern, just like you put lug nuts on a car, on a wheel. Remember, you got that Loctite in there. Okay. Okay, that's in there. That's not coming off. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and just reassemble that for now, just to hold that on there. Okay, because that's kind of a tedious part. It's no big deal. All right, I'm going to turn our model over. Okay, and we're going to pay our attention to the bottom of the model. Okay. You know what? I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to need to put in, we're going to need to put the elevator on first. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and just take your elevator, set it in there. Okay. Take your espionage. Okay. There's going to be a screw that's going to come up and attach there. Okay. Put that down in there like that. Okay. Okay, let's turn it over. All right. That's going to slot right in that. There's a pocket there. That pocket's right in there, see? All right. Now, you're going to take 2 in your kit. You got 4 of these brass colored screws, and then you got 2 that are silver colored. Take the 2 silver colored out. And we're going to use them right off the bat. I'm going to have to, I got to turn it to where I can see what I'm doing. Use a Phillips head screwdriver. And somehow, oh, okay, what this does, this gets secured in here and connected with that ball link there. That's what that does. All right. I'll keep an eye on this seam right here. Okay. Has a very obvious bottoming out point. Let me get a screwdriver with a little more oomph to it because it just feels better in my hands, to be honest with you. Okay, don't go too deep. Okay, that is in there. All right, now while you're here, let's go ahead and fix our wheel. Now this wheel is going to just drop down in here just like that. Okay, you're going to have this we're going to line up there. Okay, so it's going to probably be easier. Let's take a look at our, see how that's going to hook up? That's going to hook up right in there, like that. It's going to hook up to the wheel, just like that. Okay, so let's go ahead, hook our wheel up. You're going to get 2 of these little Phillips head screws. Okay, go ahead, stick them in there, hang in there like that. Okay. All right, those are actually wood screws. They have a kind of an aggressive bite to them. And you know what I'm going to do? Just to make sure this is nice and secure, I'm going to put a drop of this glue on each of those. Just a touch of it. Because you're going into wood, and this is the same principle of like whenever you're putting in a balsa plane, the wing. Okay, same idea. When you drill a hole in the wood, Well, this does the same thing. It kind of reinforces that wood, reinforces the hole. Okay. All right. Turn your wheel off to one side. I mean, it's obvious how it goes in there. Okay. Support it from the other side. All right. Now, you may have to adjust this. You have this is going to hook up the ball link there. You're going to have to adjust it from the inside. Okay. All right. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, that goes there. And that goes there. All right, let's hook up our ball links. All right, you've got. All right. You've got these two screws that have washers on them. Okay. See right there? This is what you're going to be hooking up your rudder and your elevator with. Okay. I don't suggest us do that yet. Not until we bound the aircraft and we make sure those servos are nice and centered. So we'll hold off on that for right now. Okay. And for right now, just so I don't lose this, I'm going to go ahead, just let that kind of dangle in there. Okay. Now, so we got that done. We set you back just a touch. Okay. Change your perspective just a touch. Okay. We can turn our attention to the wing. All right. Got it right here. Okay. We've already joined the wing halves together. This is nice and ready to go. But before we do that, we've got to address these ribbons. Okay. Let's go ahead and set the wing here. In this bag here, you've got these two ribbons. Okay. All right. Now, see how I have two wing halves? Okay. Look at see how those little nipples, little channel, little teeth right there, how those are? Okay. You look right there. See how those have channels where the teeth would fit? Okay. All right. Again, they only fit one way. Okay, so when you're done, this is what you've got. You now have these three leads. One for aileron, one for gear, and the one that's not labeled is going to be your flap. Okay, process of elimination. See how those teeth are on the outside there? The teeth are on the outside. That's how that fits in there. Okay, so now you can take your wing and your wire assembly, okay, and what I would do is in this smaller opening, well, you know what, no, I'm going to go through the larger opening there. Let them wires just kind of dangle. Line up your wing, the obvious holes that it goes into. Sit down in that saddle, okay.
Inactivity.
Yes, yes, because we're not doing anything. All right, you're going to grab your these large brass colored screws, okay? And let them just fall down in there. Okay. Okay. And this is where I take my big overkill screwdriver. Now I'm looking for the foam around this plastic joint to start kind of denting in, and that way I know I'm done. I don't go any further than that. Look for it to start kind of denting in. Now I can see it starting to dent in there. Okay. Notice how I keep crisscross pattern. Come on. That's not wanting to connect there. Okay, crisscross pattern. Good tight for good measure. This one here, is not wanting to grab, so I don't know what the deal is with this one. Alright, pull up on the wing a little bit, see if I can get it to raise back. Alright, well, I'm going to take these out. I'll pause, and I'll fight with it, and I'll call them back and tell you what I did. Alrighty, we're back. Now, what I had to do is I just had to keep taking the screws in and out until I got them lined up just right to where the screws finally got bite, and now that wing is on there. And something I've noticed, which I think is kind of strange, I just didn't notice it before, is the front of this wing is smooth. And then the front of this wing has a break in it. It's like not a break, but it's like it's got a flat spot. Now I guess that's how the real plane is. So anyway, so I don't know. It's obviously meant to be that way. All right. Anyway, so the wing is on there. Now during I was filming that, I went ahead and finished up the espionage. Okay, and slid the tail in. You put the two screws in to attach the tail and the rudder assembly together. Okay. You put the tail wheel in. The two looks like machines or wood screws. Hold that in, and then all you do is your tail, your elevator, and your rudder. Okay. All you do is just line up your holes. And I went with the middle hole on the elevator. Line up your hole, run your the provided screw that has a little washer and a locking washer and a nut. Slide it through there, through the ball link. Tighten that down, and do the same thing on this side, and just tighten those down. And that ball link is movable. And then make sure, and then go ahead and center your servo. And then found out this was pretty well centered. This is a little off here, but it's up just a little bit, but I'll take that out with sub trim, and then just hook that up, and everything lined up just perfectly, as you can see. I mean, it's pretty centered. I mean, if it's not exactly right, well, then I'll just take that out with electronically. So I went and got that hooked up. Okay, but I just started. Sometimes I forget that I'm making a film and I get to work and I'm like, oh crap, I was going to show them how to do that. Well, I've already done it. I'm not going to undo it now. So anyways, so let's go ahead, and I think if I remember, I took a break and got something to eat. So I've been a couple of hours since I came back. Can't remember what I was talking about. So we're just going to continue on as if I know what I'm doing. All right, now I remember I put the spinner on, and In your kit, you're going to have these four, look like machine screws. Okay, they're short little machine screws. They look like this. If you can see that or not. All right, and this is what's going to screw into the back plate of the. Now the prop is balanced. I didn't put a balance, but if you put on something like this, if it holds its position, move it here, holds its position, move it there. Okay, that's a balanced prop. Okay, you're going to take your back plate, take your this. Remember, we put the Loctite in to put those in. Okay, put your back plate in like that. That's going to fit on there. Okay. Take your prop. Okay. Put that on there. Put your nut on there. Okay. Now, what I wish is that this had. Oh wait. See those nuts there? I'm screwing that up. There's these little pegs there. I'll show you where to line that up with. Okay. Before I tighten this down though, I want to make sure I can line that up. So you got the four. Okay. Before I get that lined up just right, get that in there so you can see how it lines up. Okay. Alright, that should be good right there. Because you see, you have this lip here. Well, there's an opening on there. I think if I put it like, there's a little notch right there. Okay. Okay, let me see how that looks like. That's about perfect. Right there. Should fit. If it doesn't fit in there, then you got to keep adjusting it until it does. I mean, it'll be obvious the way it goes. Okay. Alright. Okay. So I'm going to leave the prop right there. Tighten that prop up. Well, okay, I'm holding the. All right, put that in lined up in there. All right. Well, anyways, you just keep fighting with that. Get that notched in there, and you probably have to hold. What I like to do is I'll stick a tool in there and just kind of hold the motor in place until I tighten that up enough. You just got to get lined up just right. There's a little peg there that you go by. And let me get that lined up just so. Okay, that's on there. Well, anyways, I'll fight with it and I'll show you what I did. Alrighty. What you do is once you get it lined up, you see there's two cutout spots on either end where these two, both of these ends line up. You just got to get them lined up just right to where the end of that spinner will fit down that pocket. See how it goes flush right there? And then turn and make sure your prop's tightened in this position. And then turn it over and get that lined up. And that should pop in there. Alright. Now you're going to take them wood screws. Again, I like doing everything in a crisscross pattern. We'll get my better screwdriver. Want a little more bite to it, a little more oomph. Okay. 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 This one here should line up now. There we go. Don't get too tight. You don't want to press through the plastic. Alright. That big honking thing is on there now. Alright. So, that, got one more thing to do. And this is, actually we've got two more things to do. Remember, it's tongue and groove. This goes in first. Pull your latch. Alright, now, this is an extremely hard part of the build. Very tedious. But you see that magnet there? Okay. See that magnet there? How's my joke go? FBI calls that a clue. Alright, now, turn the model over. Okay. And I'll admit though, this magnet, this is not all that strong. So I may am just gluing that on, or just take it off before I fly. It can be just for show. Okay. But here's another very hard part to the build. And this you may have to call in some reinforcements for. The exhaust tubes. This is horrible. This is really bad. Okay. They go in there just like that. So just take some of your high dollar expensive Chinese glue. Okay. And they're like that. Like that. Okay. That's I know that's pretty rough right there. So anyway, but actually do pay attention to that, because whenever you turn it over on a plane stand, okay, make sure you're up here on your plane stand, not, yeah, that magnet's not really. And now, just so you know, I really had to crank down on these to get these two screws to line up. So just be aware of that. And before, also, I'd made a mistake. Whenever you use a servo tester like this, like I've got here, okay, and make sure before you attach that tail, grab your elevator and your rudder lead, okay, and use a servo tester to make sure those servos are centered. I know I talked about that earlier in the unboxing, that I wouldn't hook this up until I put the receiver in, but then I started looking at the assembly. I'm like, no, let's go ahead and just get it centered with a servo tester. That way I don't have to worry about it. Alrighty. And that is the basic build and assembly of the Hobby King YAK-11 STEADFAST. This is going to be one screamingly fast bird. All right, stick around. We'll come back next, and we'll be doing a maiden flight here soon. Now, so this is early Monday morning, June 30th. I'm not going to be off for filming, for making anything until next Thursday, which would be, I guess, the 2nd? No, the 3rd of July. So I'll do the maiden then. So there you go. I'm either going to be installing a 7-channel Lemon RX Gen 2, but I only need 6-channel, or I'll be putting in a Spectrum receiver. I'm probably going to put on, I think I told someone I was going to put in a Lemon RX, but I like saving my Lemon RX for that 7th channel for something that's got thrust reversing, and this doesn't have thrust reversing. It doesn't need thrust reversing, so I'll probably end up going with the Spectrum receiver. So, all right, well, there you go. It's a good looking plane. This is Fat Guy Flies RC. You're in the Fat Guy Flies RC studio, and God bless y'all. Next time you see this plane, we'll have her up in the air, and we'll go over, and after the maiden, we'll take her back here, and we'll go over all my rates and how I'm going to set up just by the book as far as the rates go. And yeah, we'll have some fun with it. Hobby King, thank you for the STEADFAST. Can't wait to get up in the air and get a maiden. Talk to you all later. Bye-bye.